Hello and welcome to USA. My name is Justin. I'm the owner of Team 53, and I've partnered with Coach Dave Academy and Impel Motorsports to bring you this week's Learn to Drive video for ARCA Cars at USA as part of iRacing's 2025 Season 2 Week 3 official series. I'm just kind of a local racer here in Wisconsin. I have a 7500i rating, been on and off the service for about 12 years now. So if you guys can, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. It does a ton to help my channel. It helps us get us out to help other iRacers just like you, so that way there's a few less people that are in the way on the track. So you guys have done a ton here with ARCA, and I've had some DMs and some people who have requested telemetry access or files, data for ARCA cars. So with that, we're going to open up our Team 53 setup pack. It's $53 for the full season, get you all 5 short track cars. If you want ARCA telemetry, you can sign up through that and you'll get access to all of my telemetry, including ARCA and our CFix stuff that we've begun doing as well. So um, some things here in the garage to look at for qualifying. This is going to be kind of a qualifying only approach here. I'm running a 10-to-1 steering ratio, a +4 offset, and a 62% brake bias. So what I did was I decreased this number to make this car be a little bit freer for me under braking. I felt like the iRacing set was a little too stiff under braking, so we freed it up a little bit just to kind of help with corner rotation, and let us get in there a little bit better. So let's head out for our qualifying lap here. We're going to tire heat. Tire heating is super important. I took a look this morning, and actually I can show you these lap times. So this is with tire heating. This is without tire heating, and it ended up being a race run. So it's almost a tenth that you're losing just by not tire heating. So it's a gas brake swerve alternate to get up to speed. And then we're going to make lap 2 be our fast lap. So we're going to go high here lap 1 just to test grip levels going into 1. And we get into 1 and I'm like, yeah, it's pushing a little tight. We'll give it next lap. We'll be good to go. So we go around here. We go high. Get our nice run here going to the start finish line. The running high is probably some of why I ran a little bit slower right on those laps. So you're going to notice a couple things. Speed at the start finish line, we're at about 128, 129 miles an hour. But you guys really got to work on getting close to the wall here. It's a fairly narrow track, so having as much of the track limits in use, basically from the wall down to the line to the apron, is going to help you. So I'm about 1.5 squares off the wall at the start finish line. Just kind of keep that in mind. From the cockpit view, it kind of looks like this. So we've got the dash line that just kind of lines up with our hood line. With your FOV, it might be a little bit different, but this is how it looks for me. So it's really, really nice to have that set up properly. As we go down the front stretch, we're going to start to think about turn 1 actually pretty early for a lot of you guys. Turning in just before the Cintas on the track. Normal cars will wait until the green leaf sod at the short tracks, but here we're turning in a little bit earlier. And then we're going to lift and brake a lot earlier than what we do for a lot of these cars. So it's just past this set of dash lines by the before the green leaf sod. You can hear the car hits the chip as well. So we're under braking, and you can see as I'm braking, I'm straightening out my steering wheel, so I'm braking in a straight line almost. Now I've got this car pitched coming into the corner, and my goal is going to be to get the left side tires down here in this lighter shade of gray. We're going to let the car drift up a little bit in center. It's called a diamond. And then we're going to cut it back down, and we're going to drive hard off the corner. So you see that little bit of diamond there we pushed up in the center. And then we wait for forever. So it's pretty much even with the Michael Holly Chevrolet sign. And then kind of where this pit entry or pit exit starts to narrow up is where we're really going to get on throttle. And we're going to drive hard off this corner. You see how I've got this left front down here on this paint. On the paint, there's a ton of grip, but you have to be careful because if you get too much paint or you have too much throttle with too much wheel, you're going to spin out coming off the corner. So we get a ton of grip there. We drive up straight, and we just let the car carry itself up the track. We're up tight up against the backstretch wall, packing some air. And now the backstretch wall bumps out here. So this wall bump out is kind of our key to get ready for turn 3. So the wall bumps out. We're going to start to turn in, which you can see. We're going to lift and brake just before this stoplight. And then we'll drive this car into the corner, kind of the same approach to turn 1. We want to get those left sides below that line, but we're not going to diamond this. We're going to take a wide arc, and we're just going to let this car kind of sit. And then as we get close here to pit exit, that's where we're going to throttle up, drive it down the track, and get ourselves a really good exit. I definitely left probably a half, probably 100th to 200ths. I think there's a 5 in this. And I think if I sat back here and I ran a couple more runs, I could probably get there. So there's definitely a 5 in this run. We ran a 62 in this lap. Not terrible, but I think, like I said, I think there's more times. I did go back and look at our Dover times, and we're world records top in pretty much every split that's ran for the Dover times. So let's give you guys a lap here inside the car. So keep in mind I do have triple monitors, so you're really only seeing what I see out of my center screen. Left monitor is set so that my window net is where it is in my real car. So let's give you guys a go here. All right, there is a lap inside the car. Before we start on race stuff, if you guys are looking to upgrade any of your sim racing equipment, head over to Impel Motorsports, grab a Moza pack. They're the Moza R3 bundle is probably the best bang for your buck beginner set that you can possibly get right now. I just had um, a member of our team. He just joined. He's been on iRacing for a couple weeks, and he was racing on a Logitech G920, I think it was. And he just was struggling with braking into the corners. So I had him order up a Moza to see if it was any better. And the first lap, he was 2/10 better than what he had been in the Logitech before. He said he could feel the braking a lot better, the steering wheel, everything just felt way smoother, way closer to a real car. So even if you guys are still new on iRacing, if you're still within your return policy, head over to Impel Motorsports, get yourself the Moza R3 or an R5 if you've got the extra money, and grab one of those. They're absolutely amazing. So race trim now. Race trim, this is me running kind of as hard as I can. So we've got some 7s down to a 678. I can kind of show you guys this, but there's going to be some tricks. So if you caught before when I was talking about qualifying, before we started qualifying, I went into the garage and I told you, set your qualifying brake bias to this, right? So race brake bias, what I would recommend is that you guys roll it down to about 59%. And you take that, and what you do is you go into your options, and you set a control, and you set a button to adjust your brake bias. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go when you grid. So you do this after qualifying before you're going to grid. So now you'll go in to race. This would be like us sitting on the grid, right? And I'm going to go over to my F boxes. I think it's like F9, F8. I hit F9 and then just tab it over 1. And what you're going to do is you're going to move this +3. So that's going to get you back to your 62% for your start of your run. Now the reason we're doing this is because if this car starts to get tighter and tighter and tighter on entry, what you then have is instead of only having 3% that you could move it down if you left it at 62 to start out with, you could only move it down about 6 clicks. Now you've bought yourself 12 clicks to move it down. Some of you guys might find that starting it at 59 and then bumping it up to 62 is it's too many clicks. Like maybe you want to be able to add a couple, or maybe you don't need to go that far. So you can adjust that number that you start with. But this is just a little brake bias trick that I like to use in fixed races on the short tracks. So we're going to go out here. I did my 10 lap run like we've been doing at USA. My right front tire was 98. My right rear was 97. I had a 195 tire temp on the right front and a 200 on the right rear, which shows us that 10 laps here is going to be a little bit loose versus what we've been used to with it going tight. Now, the big thing is 10 laps at a 3/4 mile track is the equivalent of running 5 laps at a 1.5 mile track, which is really what we've been doing the last couple weeks. So what I would say is let's go see if we can kind of make this work. So we completely blew turn 1 there. But just bringing this in, the biggest thing that you got to watch out for is braking too hard and that rear end snapping around.
20.975.
So as we're driving around here, I'm really looking to be about a tenth and a half off my session best. I think that's going to be really good for race pace, is to run just sevens to start
20.778.
out with. I don't think you really need to be in the sixes, but just a high 7. So now that we've got that already, we can just go session last lap and just kind of let that carry us.
20.78.
I do feel like I might be driving turn 3 just a little bit too hard on entry. And the only reason I say that
20.804.
is because like turn 1, I feel like the car gets pointed down to the bottom and rotates really, really well. In 3 and 4, I feel like I can feel the rear end stepping out on me a little bit under braking. That time I backed up my corner a little bit and it felt a lot better, but our lap time is going to be slower. So it's just going to be 45 laps of this in the
20.821.
ARCA series. You guys, a lot of times we talk about short track racing and giving the bumper and stuff like that, which is definitely the case. And I think it's going to be really hard to pass here. But with this ARCA car, there's so much horsepower that I think if you time your runs just right, or if you
20.942.
time going into the corner just properly with people, I think you can really force people into mistakes with this car. And especially at a short track, to where you don't have to give anyone the bumper, they'll just kind of overdrive corners and you'll be able to pass them. Standard kind of passing zones here at USA are obviously entry to
20.913.
1 and entry to 3, but you really set those up, I feel like, on exit of 1 and exit of 3. And as you can tell, there is quite a bit of fall off here after just about 10 laps. But I will tell
20.897.
you that slowing the car down and running a little bit slower at the start of the run, we are probably about a tenth faster than what I was at the end of my really hard charge 10 laps. So we'll compare lap times here, and that's going to be really, really important is you take care of this car at the start of the run,
20.894.
and I feel like you're going to have way more form at the end of the run.
20.896.
So there's our 896. This is going to be about the same number of laps that we ran before. So it'd be really interesting to me to see where our tires are at. So we were at 195 and 200 before, and it was a 98, 97. So you can see just by going a little bit slower on those laps, we've got 1% right rear tire better and about 3 degrees better tire wear, which is super helpful when it comes to that. And then the big piece, right, is when we were pushing, you see we got to a 678, but by the end of the run, we had an O and then an 870. And in here, we had a lot more consistent lap times. We ended up with an 890, so about the same lap times, really, over a 10 lap run here at the start of the day. little bit slower lap times yet, and an 8:57. So it all kind of balances out, it appears. It's just going to be how much tire you have left at the end of 45 laps. If you guys are interested, we have started offering with Team 53 um, ARCA telemetry as well as C fixed in addition to our short track sets. So if you guys are interested, sign up with Team 53. Go to team53racing.com. Click on our short track pass. It's included with that. As long as you join our Discord, you'll get access to our Garage 61. You can view all that data there. Head over to our Facebook page, give us a like, join our Discord. We are super close to 500 subscribers. As soon as we hit 500 subscribers, we're going to start to do some Discord giveaways. So make sure you guys head over there, give us a like. Thanks for your time, and we will see you guys in the next video.